Greeting from the Global Youth and Sustainable Organization, GYSO, from the heart of the capital city of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. We would like to thank you all for joining us on the webinar. What's the science behind the personal branding on LinkedIn? With our trainer for tonight, Mr. Glomalish. Before we start, please make sure that you have enabled your audio, just like what is shown in the slide. Now, I will be quickly sharing with you the housekeeping rules. Please, the camera is optional. There is no certificate for participation. The session is will be recorded and we will sharing the recording later. Using the chat is on the right way time, so your question will not be lost between the messages. Now, before we start, allow me to introduce our trainer, Mr. Alish. Alish is among the youngest one. Mr. Alish is among the youngest one in Malaysia who have been a TED speaker 2 times and have been invited to the over more than 200 speaker engagement across Malaysia. He has been also featured on reputable nationwide and international media such as The Sun Daily, Marketing in Asia, PFMs. The star and more over the years for his work on youth development. Also an investor of the Alish Digital. Mr. Alish has been referred as the youngest LinkedIn influencer in Malaysia, featured as the youngest most inspirational LinkedIn icon in Malaysia for 2 years in a row. He's also known as a LinkedIn doctor after having been one of the first one in Malaysia who will use the LinkedIn and help many to revolve their LinkedIn profile through the LinkedIn coaching, LinkedIn profile optimization, and LinkedIn workshop. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Alish.
Hi everyone, good evening to all of you, and thank you so much to the GYSO team for having me over here. Can you guys hear me clearly? Okay, I need some interactions, otherwise it's gonna be a very boring session. Okay, cool, great. I'm really honored to be here today. I understand that we are about 20 participants, which is really great, nice, and small and nice. Before we start, may I know where are you guys joining from? Like, which country are you joining from? What is your time zone? I'm based in Malaysia right now. It is like 9:10 p.m. How is it, guys, for you? Is it the same or different? Okay, we have a few from Malaysia, Noor, Human Resources. I don't know your name, buddy. For Anissa, it is 3 p.m. Lebanon, great. Oman, awesome. Perfect. So looks like we are doing this from multiple time zones, which is great. I hope those who are in Malaysia or time zones that are like late night, you're not sleepy. It's not um, the best time for having maybe LinkedIn workshop, but I hope that it will be impactful to all of you. But guys, please, for God's sake, I need your energy. Are we cool before we start? I cannot do this alone. I need you to be with me. Are we cool? Awesome. Thank you, Sarah, Sang, Anissa, Amira. Perfect. Okay, let me share my screen with you. Oh, host disabled participant screen sharing. Um, Dear host, could you allow me to share my screen? Awesome. Okie dokie. Can you guys see my screen now? I hope you can. Okay. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box over there, and then we'll get to it shortly after this. Okay. We are here today to talk about the science behind personal branding on LinkedIn. But before we get to the science, we have to understand a few basic stuff. And before we get to that, let me first introduce what we're going to talk about today. So it will be the pre-science, the science itself, and after science. Things like why you need LinkedIn, making an outstanding profile, some quick tips and tricks, how to create content in the shortest amount of time with the highest quality possible, how to build your personal brand as a result of your content creation and your outstanding profile, and how you can use your personal brand to build your network. And at the end, perhaps some quick tips and tricks on job or maybe career tips, we could call it. Today is not really much about me. I could go on and on. I'm the TEDx speaker. I've been featured. I've been trusted by these companies or somehow engaged with many universities from across the Malaysia, but that is not important today. Today, it's all about you and how you are going to take a good step towards your future in terms of your professional life. Um, all right. First, I want to ask you guys, how many do we have here who are close to graduation? Or maybe one semester, 1 year, Perhaps you can tell me actually what's your what year are you in right now? Are you all students? I think you're all students, correct? Okay. Last year, I'm a grad. Okay, so it's a combination of both students and working adults, the younger ones. I think the young working adults, right? Okay. Uh, I want to ask you something. Remember back then, a couple of years ago, when you graduated from your high school and you wanted to go for university? Was it challenging for you to find a university that is appropriate to you, to find a study, a field that you like? Any response? Okay, Arsha says kind of. How about the rest? Guys, come on. Energy, energy. Basma says yes, it was challenging. Sang, yes. Noor says yes, to choose the right specialization was challenging. Right, exactly. That one, whatever challenging it was, it is not even close to the challenge that you're going through after you graduate, especially for those who haven't graduated yet. Probably you can see those around you who are remaining unemployed for too long, or those who have to apply for so many companies and go for so many interviews and just settle down with a job, not even their dream job, not even the job that they were always passionate about. So it is very important for you to know why you need to start today to work on your professional profile, which of course LinkedIn is the main one, right? As a result of that why, then later on we'll get to see different tools and things you can use to build it, like I mentioned in the introduction. Now, it is quite normal for us to be in that position as well. Like after you graduate from high school, right? Because we've been in that situation where everything from primary school all the way until college, like end of high school, about 11 years, everything is set for us. We know what we're going to study, we know which school we're going to study, all the subjects are the same and predictable. Then suddenly we enter this phase of our life where nothing is set anymore. Everything depends on our decision, everything depends on how we are going to make it happen. And one of the most important phases is right after we graduate. And that's when you enter this life where you have to work, you have to be able to support your family, you are going to settle down, have a family, and a lot more commitments. But that time, it is a bit too late to think of building your professional brand or professional profile. Today is the right time. Why? Because it takes some time. It is not something that happens overnight or maybe in a span of maybe 1 month or 2 months. No, it is something that you're going to establish and definitely takes some time. If you don't know what you're going to do after you graduate, it is normal. All of us, or I would say most of us, go through that challenge. But you didn't know it earlier, it's fine. Today, after this workshop, you are going to be exposed to this, why you need to do this, and hopefully by the end of this session, you can understand a bit more on what you're going to be like after you graduate, most likely in terms of your professional career. Are we good so far? Does it make sense? Okay, we have like 20 plus participants, but only two, three respond. The rest, are you guys okay? Are you there? I'm worried about you. Do you guys hear me well, right? Okay. I'm really not used to much of online workshops. It's something that I'm still struggling to get used to. I'm really in love with in-person kind of interactions, and I miss those days. It's been over a year since my last in-person workshop. Anyway, let's get back to this. Let's close this. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, LinkedIn is going to be one of the main things you are going to focus on to build your professional brand or professional profile. And why we need that? Because of a few important key points. Number one is to build your online presence. Online presence means, when you apply for a job, let's say the HR person wants to get to know a little bit more about you before they can offer you the interview appointment, right? Where can they find more about you? They will Google you, they will find you on social media, but most importantly, it's LinkedIn where they will see your profile, because LinkedIn profile is a lot more than just a resume. And of course, there's other social media too, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on, but they are not really considered as a professional platform. So I wouldn't say that they will consider to check out your Facebook, for example, to see whether you're a right fit for a certain position. So the online presence that you will build on LinkedIn is super important. On top of that, through connecting with the right people, you get to gain more exposure and build the people around you, build your network in other ways. I'm sure you've heard about the quote that says your network is your net worth, right? That's the importance of the right people in your circle. And again, it's about the visibility too. It is not always about you finding others. Sometimes it's about others finding you, right? And that is exactly where the personal branding, the main topic for today, comes in. uh, I want to understand a bit from your side too, what does LinkedIn actually mean to you? Like, have you ever created an account so far? Are you even active on it? Tell me a bit more about what you think of LinkedIn. How is your activity right now on LinkedIn? Bu- 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 bu. Okay, hold on. Let me close my WhatsApp. Okay. It's kind of boring to you. Okay. You want to start soon. You have an account but not active. You haven't tried but you want to try. It's a platform to find a job, not try. Okay, so majority of us here today, you're not active there and you haven't even tried it before. Okay, so you're in the in the perfect location right now. Good platform, but don't know how it works well. All right, no worries. Perfect. Now I have a better idea of who our audience are today. There are a few myths about LinkedIn, right? Some say it's only for businessmen or for entrepreneurs. Some say it is actually a job platform. Some say it is for serious professionals who are maybe doing business and all that, and all this sort of myth around it. But actually, it is not. It is basically a social account that is professional. Facebook is your social account. Instagram is your social account. Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, and probably many more that I don't know much about, right? Those are social accounts, but they're mostly personal. It's about you keeping in touch with your friends, your classmates, your family, your relatives, and so on. But when it comes to LinkedIn, it is mostly about professional first. When I say professional, I'm not talking about only like the CEOs or founders or directors of big companies. No, it could be anyone who want to build a professional presence online, who want to connect with the professionals around them, who want to build professional uh, profile, basically, right? These are the myths. But we are going to talk about four important steps today. One of them is rocking your profile first. This is super, super important while it is very simple. In order for you to even start your journey on LinkedIn, first you need to have a proper complete profile. What does it mean by complete? Okay, I know some of you don't have an account, so I'm gonna go on my LinkedIn profile and show you from top to bottom, roughly. Can you see my screen now? Oh, wait, no, no, I think you cannot see it. Uh, where is Zoom? Okay, I stop sharing. Okay, you should be able to see it right now. When you go to your profile on LinkedIn, it looks something like this that has a profile banner, a profile picture, name, and so on. So we will briefly have a look at it to see how it looks like, and also a few tips and tricks about completing your profile. First, about your profile picture. This is super important. I see a lot of profile pictures that are really not professional. I'm not saying you should use your passport picture. No, that is boring. But just a headshot, you could even not even have a tie or shirt. It could be a casual T-shirt, for example. As long as it's a headshot, it shows your face. That is good enough. If you want to wear formal, it is also okay. If not, that's also fine. Then here, this is your headline. Your headline is limited to, if I'm not mistaken, 140 characters. You want to say what is how to describe yourself using this very short sentence or a few keywords. There are a few ways you can do this. One is to say, let's say if you're a student, you can say, I'm a student in this field, in this university. Very simple, right? You can also say certain things like what you're interested in. For example, if I'm studying mechanical engineering and I want to pursue my career in mechanical engineering, I would say an aspiring mechanical engineer, right? That could also be another way. Or the third way would be just using certain keywords because there are like maybe a lot you want to say, but you want to summarize it, then you can just use keywords like this and then separate them by maybe, some good spacing in between. Don't put too many keywords if you're going to use keywords because that's going to be too hard to read. Okay, as we scroll down, then this is your about section. You can complete this, well, basically just write a bit more about yourself, whatever you've achieved, and just to let the audience know more about you. These are, we're gonna skip this part, activities. Okay, experience. Experience can sometimes be confused with, um, there could be a lot of things that could be as an experience. It could be job experience, it could be internships, it could be part-time jobs, it could be certain, for example, society or clubs that you are part of. Let's say you are in a committee of GYSO, right? Some of these could be under experience, some better not. What do I mean by that? So basically, the main thing you gotta put under experience is your job, like actually a career, right? But as a student, not all of us have professional experience. So what we can do, we can put internships if you have any part-time jobs, and if you also are in a committee or society or any student club that you are taking part of. It could be even voluntary. It doesn't have to be a job. As long as it is an experience, you can somehow put it under here. Then later on, as you graduate, have more job experiences, you can remove those that were not so relevant and only keep the ones that are most relevant to you. After the experience, you get to education. That is quite straightforward. Just add your university, your major, and some other descriptions about whatever you've achieved during your education. Volunteer experience. Okay, this is somehow similar to the experience just now because let's say if you are the president of a student club, it is also a volunteer while it could be an experience too, right? So what I advise, if you have a lot of positions that you don't know, where to put them, keep the top ones. Let's say the presidents, leaders, head of departments, and the important leadership positions. Keep them under experience. The rest that may be less important than those positions, you can put them under the volunteer experience. We get to skills and endorsements. This is quite important as well because other people can endorse you, or in other words, verify you that you have a skill. Let's say in this case, I've mentioned that uh, this is something that I can add to my profile. I can add all the skills that I think I have. I add them here. Others, my connections, could go in and endorse me for it. So, for example, for this creative problem solving, I have over 178 people who endorsed me saying that yes, Alish is good at creative problem solving. Let's say in leadership, 191 people verified that yes, I agree that Alish is good at leadership. This adds a lot to the credibility of your profile because it's others who are endorsing you that you're good at something, right? Next, we get to the recommendation section. This is where you receive recommendations from others. Similar to the skills where they can endorse you that you are good at something, in here, the only difference is that they can write about you. Imagine like a recommendation letter that let's say you receive from your lecturer, your dean of department, and so on. In this case, it's your connections. They write about you to say why they are recommending you for a certain thing. this is very important as well to add more credibility to your profile. But again, don't be scared. I know now you're like, okay, but where do I get them from? Your friends, your classmates, your friends, your lecturers. If you have any internship or part-time job, ask your managers or colleagues. You know, there are a lot of people who know you actually already. Just ask them for a favor to give you a recommendation on LinkedIn. Very simple. Accomplishments, there are quite a lot of different sections over here: publication, patent, course, project, honor and award, and so on, that you can add them over here if you have any of those, just to really complete your profile until you receive this. This all-star means you have a complete profile. You've added your experience, you've added your education, and so on. If it is not complete, there will be an indicator over here to tell you which part you need to complete in order for you to get an all-star profile. It's very simple. So far, any question on completing your profile before we go to the next part? Are you guys there? What is the minimum of what? Minimum in terms of completing your profile? If yes, your okay, the the indicator over here will be your best guidance, because once you create your profile at the beginning, it will tell you, you know, like a visual progress bar to tell you what you need to complete in order for you to get an all-star profile. But it's quite simple, all the basic stuff only, like your name, your headline, your summary, your experience, education, just the basic stuff that I just talked about. Just adding those will be good enough to have a complete profile. But of course, you can always make it even more complete when you add more experience, when you add more skills of yours, when you receive more recommendations from others, right? This all-star profile is just the basics. That doesn't mean that once you have an all-star profile, you're gonna be like, oh my God, you know? It's just the basics. All right, let's now jump back to our presentation. And how to, can you explain how to request for recommendation? Is there a like a link that we send to people for recommendation? Yes, there is. Let me share my screen in there again to show it to you. Okay, let's check out Asil's profile. We're not connected, man. Okay, we are now gonna be connected. So let's see, but now because we are not connected, I cannot do this. Let's see who can you guys tell me your LinkedIn profile, like someone who is connected to me. Never mind, I just quickly find someone here. Maybe Shamila. Okay. Remember, in order for you to request or to give a recommendation, you have to be connected. So let's say Shamila, right? She's my friend, and we are already connected on LinkedIn. Now, I want to give her a recommendation or request for a recommendation. I can just go to her profile, click more, and then we can see both options over here. If I click request, a link will automatically be sent to her where she can just click the link and write the recommendation for me and submit. Then I can review and add to my profile or reject it. I'll have the option to approve or reject or even ask her for revision. If I recommend her, again, she has the option to ask me for revision or whether she wants to approve it or not. That's the way. Now, let's go back to the presentation. So we talked about rocking your profile. These are just, a reminder. Complete your profile with the basics. then build your credibility with endorsement and recommendations. And then remember, guys, one thing. Oh my God, this is also super important. Your profile is not a place for you to show off. Please know the difference between impressive profile and a show off profile. A show off profile is just in a, uh, it is a profile that is always about I am good, I am the best, I am hardworking, I am, a very employable graduate, I am the smartest one in town, that sort of thing. I even see some people like put in certain things on their headline that is just such a show off. You don't have to show off actually in order to showcase your talent. Remember, this is a profile that tells a lot about you to whoever who views it. And the first impression is super important, right? You don't want people to think of you as such a show off person. You want them to say like, oh my God, wow, he's got a impressive profile, right? So remember, when you're completing your profile, when you're adding all these details to it, just while you're trying to make it impressive, make sure that you sound genuine and humble. Do we have another question here? All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, you've built your profile, right? You've completed your profile. You want to start being active by creating content. This is crucial because just creating the profile, leaving it there, is not gonna get you much. It is just some information, just like your resume. The important part of LinkedIn is starting from here onwards after you completed your profile. And it starts with creating content. What I mean by creating content, it is not only like those video editors or graphic designers or pro article copywriters and so on that are considered as content, right? Content is basically any visual, like posters, pictures, videos, all the codes and so on that you share probably on other platforms too. These are all content. But the difference here is that you want to make your content more professional, right? But now you're like, okay, what is a professional content? Image, videos, copywriting, all these things. I don't have the time to sit down and like create all of them. Well, you don't have to create. You just need to document it. This is, I think, one of the easiest way you can create content is by basically documenting them on a daily basis. You go to meetings, you probably have projects to work on, you have maybe you attend workshops, events, you even organize them. There are a lot of things you do as a student, right? Those things, when you take a picture of them or somehow you capture those moments, that could be your content, simply like that. I'm pretty sure you're already a content creator on other platforms, maybe, Instagram or Facebook. You share your maybe food pictures, a picture of you with your friends, or perhaps some funny stuff and memes and so on, right? Those are content. The only difference here is that you want to sound professional. You want to change the tone in a more professional way. Let's say if you are doing this workshop, right? You attended this workshop. Do you know how many posts you can create just from this workshop alone? Number one could be before the event, saying that, sharing the posters and then saying that something along this line. I'm looking forward to this event. Then you can elaborate like why you want to go and what are the benefits for you to join and so on. During the event, perhaps you're taking some screenshots, perhaps you're taking notes of certain things that you're learning, and your key takeaways basically. These are each of your key takeaway points could actually be one post. Okay, what did I learn today? Number one, I learned that in order to create a content, I don't have to create content. I can just document whatever I have, then elaborate on that. That is one post already. Another one could be about maybe another tips and tricks that later we'll discuss. I didn't know this, but now I learned it. Oh, okay, I'm gonna talk about it. That is your content. It is simply whatever you do on a daily basis and whatever that you think is true. Doesn't have to be any crazy content or professional videos that are like that takes so much to create. At the same time though, remember you gotta keep it consistent. If you are let's say students, your consistency is that you're going to talk about similar stuff on a regular basis. But if you are not a student, let's say you're working already, okay, which what is it that you're doing? Are you an HR person? Are you a marketer? Are you maybe in the startup world, or are you in the tech world? All these things are kind of different, right? You want to be consistent in what you're doing. We'll get to the consistency more on the personal branding part later, but just to give you a brief idea, consistency is key in your LinkedIn journey. Consistency in terms of keeping it active, in terms of regularly posting, in terms of actively engaging with other people's posts, and so on. And at the same time, of course, you want to have the direction. So as a student, you may not have the industries or certain area of expertise and so on to consider as your direction. But as a student, your direction is to showcase yourself as a good graduate when you graduate. Because by the time you graduate, you don't want to go through the challenges I just mentioned to you earlier, going to so many interviews, applying to so many companies, and so on. You just need one person. If that one person views your profile and gets an idea of who you are, what you're doing, all your activities, and so on, that one person is enough, right? So having the direction of being a good graduate is good enough. So what does a good graduate do? Active outside classrooms, extracurricular activities, good in soft skills and leadership, personality, all those things that are usually happening outside your classrooms. This is a LinkedIn workshop, so I don't want to get more onto like like life coaching and stuff, but I just want to share this with you that having a direction, probably you can later research as well. You don't have to get scared. Oh my god, what is my direction right now? Your direction right now as a student is just this. Focus on that. Over time you can understand more, you can get more about what you're interested in, discover more about yourself, your interest, then you can improve it from there. Start from just being a good student. And then you want to be active as well. Like I said, being active is very important, but it is not only about creating content and posting. It simply could be engaging with other people's posts, especially at the beginning where you don't really have a lot of followers, you don't really have a lot of connections, or probably your post may not even reach more than, I don't know, like 100 people perhaps, right? At that at the very beginning, it is important for you to go out there and attract attention. Until you already have enough eyeballs on you, then okay, you can reduce that engaging with other people's posts. So when you engage with other posts, basically you comment on them, right? You comment something insightful, and then probably someone will see your comment and will be like, wow, this person is insightful. I like this idea that they just shared. So I'm gonna view their profile. So you're increasing your profile view, right? Once they click on that and view your profile, they see your profile is complete and is impressive. They're like, wow, okay, nice. Now let me see what are they doing in terms of content. So they may see your latest post. They see that, oh, even though there is not much likes or comments, but actually he's sharing some good stuff. What do you do next? Follow. That's what they do, right? They you it's like a step by step kind of process. First, they are interested to know more about you. After reading your comments, they read your profile and they're impressed. They read your post and they're like, okay, I wanna follow this person. Follow. Just like that, you build your following over time as well. At the beginning, I want to emphasize again, most likely you are not going to receive much engagements on your post. You may not receive much profile views, but do not get discouraged because, uh, like I said earlier, you just need that one person who is gonna be your investor if you're going to run your own business, who is gonna be your employer if you want to look for a job, who is gonna be your business partner if you want to found a startup together. That one person is the one you're doing all these efforts for. You're not doing this just to get likes and comments. Plus, those who are engaging with your post, they're not giving you much, are they? They're just engaging with your post. So don't lose hope if at the beginning you didn't really get a lot of engagements. Are we cool so far? Now, the personal branding part. Basically, personal branding is like telling the world who you are and what you do. It is in the simplest form possible. Now, let me ask you this question. If I say just do it, what do you remember? Waiting for your response, guys. If I say just do it, what do you remember? Nike. Exactly. Right. Have they ever come to your house and like told you specifically that, hey, I am Nike. This is my tagline. Whenever I said, uh, just do it, you remember me. No, of course not. They've never done that. But how do you remember it without even knowing that you remember it? It's because of their consistency in putting that phrase everywhere. So consistency is key. You want to build your personal brand, right? You want to tell the world who you are and what you do. But something that is challenging for many people is, what do I want to stand for? Like, okay, I'm a student right now, okay, but my brand cannot be a student. My brand cannot be another, impressive graduate. Who is me? Me, like Sarah, me, Alish, me, Asil, me, Amin, that person. So before you even think about building the brand and thinking of the consistency, you want to make sure that first you know what you want people to know you for. And that is more about the self discovery and in understanding more about yourself, your interests, your passions, and so on. If you don't know that, you're probably gonna have some challenges to build your brand. But if you know it, that is gonna be great. Because let's say, okay, now I know I am, let's say, studying computer science right now, and I know that I am interested in the programming world. Doesn't have to be very specific. Programming could be a lot of things, could be iOS, could be Android, could be web apps, could be a lot of different ways of doing that. But at least I've narrowed it down to programmer. So who are you? A programmer. Very simple, very specific. Now, I know who I am. I know what I want people to know me for. So what do? Whatever I do online, anywhere I go, in terms of trainings, the people I meet, the post I share online, uh, basically anything I do is somehow related to programming. I attend a training in programming language. I maybe organize some events for those who are younger programmers and they want to increase their knowledge in programming. After some time, I can talk about some tips on like how I started my programming journey, and how I reached here. Later, I can talk about some failures that I've faced during my journey in programming life, and that sort of things. I meet someone in person, and then they ask me, "What do you do?" I'm a programmer. We talk about programming and stuff, right? So wherever you go, whatever you do is somehow related to the thing that you do. And people tend to remember you after some time for that. Even if they don't want to remember, they will automatically remember you. Like Nike, if I ask you what is Nike about, you will right away say it is sports attire, it is sports outfit, it is, all the equipment. It's basically sports stuff, anything, right? And that is what you want to do. Uh, the consistency comes with repetition. Did you guys get what I mean in this example of being a programmer and building your personal brand and so on? Okay. Also remember, guys, when you are uh, posting online, especially, right? Let's say later on, after some time, you have, for example, 10,000 followers, right? It doesn't mean that with every single post, all those 10,000 people see your post. Maybe today only 500 see your post. Next week, maybe 400 see your post. Another week, maybe 1,000 see your post, right? After some time, actually, if you put all together, let's say you post once a week for 6 months, right? Maybe each of your followers came across your post perhaps less than 5 to 10 times, but less than 5 to 10 times of the same theme, the same area. So there is no way, if you talk about programming all the way in these 6 months, even if they came across only five of them, there is no way they don't remember you for programming. That's where the consistency makes a big difference. And that's where a lot of people actually can't make it because they don't have the consistency. One day they talk about engineering stuff, one day they talk about programming stuff, one day they talk about some cute dog videos on LinkedIn, and that is just crazy. Even though they may get some engagements, but in terms of branding, it is nonsense. You build your personal brand. You are actively creating content. You have an impressive profile. What do you want to do now? This is like the most important reason why you need LinkedIn. It is to build your network. By network, I am not talking about only followers or connections. I'm talking about the people who, as a result of your personal brand, there's a high chance they can find you. Let me give you an example. Did you guys know that I'm a student as well? Just like many of you? Yeah, good. Great. So some of you Some of you have seen my profile, some haven't, but uh, when I say I'm a student, many people are like, "What? You are a student and you are invited to all these places, you are featured on magazines, and you are referred to as this, as that, and that. How come?" It is basically because I exactly I followed these four steps. Number one, I built an impressive profile. Oh, by the way, at the beginning it was shed profile. It wasn't impressive at all. I just completed my profile basically. If you see now it's a little bit impressive, it's because it's the result of years of improvement over time. And second was creating content. Basically, whatever I did as a student, I used to, like earlier, I used to be super active in terms of organizing events, bringing people, I mean, my classmates or my other faculty students to corporate. I remember I brought them to all these big names like, uh, like Fave, uh, Shopee, all these, trending names that people want to like know more about and see their office and so on. I found some clubs, ran some clubs. I did a lot of things. So I had a lot to talk about. I had a lot to post about. And as a result of that, not only I managed to build my profile, I also learned a lot myself. Okay, how can I build my brand? How can I actually, have that consistency and direction? How to do this, how to do that? All the things I'm mentioning in this presentation slides today for you, all of these are the results of whatever I personally experienced it and I personally went through it. Some of them you may not even know and you may not find it online because it is really my personal experience and others may have different experiences, right? So if I manage to do this, for sure you can manage to do it too. Especially for those who are not student anymore. Some of you mentioned that you are working already. You are even in a better position. Why? Because your work, you already have that brand set. You already have a lot of content to do all your meetings, all your professional trainings you go to, all your stuff that you do, right? You have a lot more chances to be consistent. In fact, it is gonna help you a lot more in terms of your career improvements as well. So this is why I want to emphasize again, you want to build your network that know you or get to know you, even if you don't know them. I'm really sometimes like humble and surprised at the same time that I receive invitations from places that I've never heard about. Like I remember a couple of months ago, there was a university in Johor Bahru. There was another one in Pago, if you know it, guys, in Malaysia. Different parts of Malaysia that I haven't even been there personally, but they got to find me and they got to know about me. I was humble at the same time surprised. How come it is possible? It's because you build a brand and your network will be most likely built over time. And after you build your network as well, there's a high chance you can build your influence too. How do these influencers work? It is not all about having 10 billion followers, right? It is not about being Tony Fernandez or the biggest or CEO of Google or CEO of multinational companies. It basically can be you being able to influence certain audience in your own way when you are established as a thought leader. How to do that? Let's start with building your network, right? First, network on your LinkedIn. When you start, you have zero followers, you have zero connections, everything is absolutely zero, right? In that moment, your first thing to do is the sharing insightful comments on other posts that you see on your feed. I mentioned earlier, you share something there, you trigger their curiosity, they go view your profile, they see your profile, they see your post, they are interested, then they follow you. So you do that over time. Second time, the second thing is that you actually already have your connections, but you just don't know it. You have your classmates, you have your colleagues, you have your relatives, you have your lecturers and faculty members, and probably all the students from your university. If you just count like that, I think you can easily connect to 100 people. And there you go. You are not going to start from zero anymore. You are going to start from 100. That's like a big step, right? So start with the people you know, and then, okay, you are already connected with whoever who know you and whoever who you know. You also want to connect with other people because you want to expand, right? Offline, you may only get to know about, let's say, I don't know, 100 people, 200 people, 500 people max. But online, you can know a lot more people from different countries, different backgrounds, different industries, people you don't even know exist, right? So if you already know your brand and you already know who you are looking for, actually, you're gonna go to LinkedIn, use a search button, and search for the people you're looking for. Let's say if you're a student, most probably you're interested to get to connect to more HR professionals. Remember, guys, HR is very important because they are the ones who are going to interview you. They are the ones who either approve or reject your application as well. So it may not be like the CEO or the managing director. It is actually the HR professional. So you want to connect with them. And as a result of that, you can also ask for their help. Like, let's say if you're interested in working at Shell or Google, for example, who can advise you how to do your application in the best possible way to increase your chance of getting approved? Someone who is inside, someone who is reviewing many applications day in, day out, right? So ask them for their help. Don't be shy, because eventually your network, like I mentioned, are your net worth, right? Just use it. It doesn't even have to be a lot of people, as long as you know who you're looking for and who can help you in what way. Connect with them, ask for help if necessary, and just remember, guys, do not sound like a scam. Don't like try to connect with this high profile person on LinkedIn and then right away send them like a big text asking for all the favors and asking so many questions. That may sound like a scam, okay? Try to be genuine. Like, you can start with first, hi, mention their name so they know that you're actually. Sometimes I see it like people send some general message, and that is just so off-putting because it just gives you the idea that they didn't even bother to put your name there. Just make sure you personalize that message if you're connecting with them. So, hi, put the name. Hi, Mr. X. I'm going to graduate soon, and I was wondering if I could get your mentorship on how I can land my dream job after I graduate. Very simple. Yes, there may be some who don't even reply. It's normal. There may also be people who reply and help you. But no matter what, you try to be genuine and you make sure you don't give up just like that. Just because one person didn't reply doesn't mean millions of other people don't reply. And SSI. SSI stands for Social Selling Index. I'm going to show you. Actually, LinkedIn has this built-in tool that I would say 99% of people don't know actually. Let me show it to you where you can find it. Okay, you cannot do it on the app, so you have to be on desktop or even on your phone, you have to go on the browser and type in this URL, linkedin.com/sales/SSI. The slash sales, it doesn't mean it's a paid feature. No, it's actually a free feature. All you have to do is just log into your profile first, then go to this link, linkedin.com/sales/SSI. Once you go there, you will see your ranking. It gives you two ranking. One is industry rank, one is network rank. Industry, let's say, for example, I'm in the engineering industry, right? It tells me among all the engineers on LinkedIn, what is the percentage, actually, like, what is my ranking in terms of percentage? So I'm among the top 1% in my industry. And your network is basically the same thing. Instead of industry, it is among your network only. But just remember, guys, this is a number that could go up and down every day. It is like almost daily updated. Don't get so distracted by this if it was too high. Also, don't lose hope if it was like a very low ranking. It is just to give you an idea how your profile is doing. If it was, a bit low and you wanted to improve, then you can look at these four categories. There are four components. Each of them have their own 25% contribution, and all 25% come together, become 100%. So in this case, build relationship for me is like full 25%. So there's not much improvement I need there, but I might need to improve more in terms of engaging with insights. But what does that mean? Okay, you know what to do? You go to Google, engage with insights, LinkedIn. You just type that exactly. Then what you get will be uh, slide share. Hold on. There we go. So just type exactly that phrase and then type LinkedIn SlideShare. This SlideShare is a service of LinkedIn as well. So this comes from LinkedIn to tell you more about how you can improve your score on this category, engage with insights. There are 6 different um, slides. You can go through them later to see how you can improve it. If you go back to here, the SSI, what are the other components? Establish your professional brand, find the right people, engage with insight, and build relationships. If you notice it, actually the other 3 are already here. So once you're done with this, just go through these 3 as well, and boom, that's another way for you to improve your profile ranking. Okay. Uh, let's go back to the slides. There we go. All right. So SSI will be just, like a guide for you to keep improving your profile. Don't get distracted and don't lose hope if it was too high or too low. Now, the last but not least, and something that I think many people miss these days, is the fact that a lot of things that you're doing online is based on all the things you do offline first. For example, if you don't do anything during your studies, your projects, your trainings, all sorts of student activities and so on, then what are you going to talk about in terms of content if you don't uh, meet people in person and actually have a interaction with them? How are you gonna interact with them online, right? So there must be, at least even at the beginning, it could be a very small portion compared to all your followings later on, but at least make sure you start from offline first. Offline means you when remember at the beginning I mentioned that you can start connecting with the people who know you first, like your classmates, your lecturers, your colleagues, and so on, because those are the offline network first that happen there. Then everything else would be built based on that. Do you guys get what I mean? Does it make sense? Okay. Don't be just, like these Insta influencers who are only taking some pictures and do everything online, but when you go offline, no one even knows you. No one even cares about you. Like you don't have the actual support that you might expect with from your network. If it is basically just online, it is basically just, if they're on LinkedIn, they know you. You go outside, nobody knows you. So make sure you're also active offline as well. That'll be where your content come from, your network is going to be built, and other things too. We have a few questions here. Let me go through them. You mentioned that you followed 4 rules. Could you mention them? Okay, the four basically parts of this workshop as well. That number one, you complete your profile. Number two, you create your content and become active. Then you build your brand accordingly, and then you build your network. These are just the titles, but of course, when you go deep down, it will be basically whatever we're talking about in this 2-hour workshop. Yes, active interactions like offline workshops, seminars, meeting people, networking events. Uh, Perhaps right now it may not be so advisable because of the pandemic, but after the situation gets better, I know there are people who actually, like how people go on blind dates. Similar thing happens in the professional world too. Just two people on LinkedIn say, okay, let's catch up, let's grab a coffee, let's have a lunch together. Get to know each other a bit more, because they know the power of network, especially when it happens offline, because the effectiveness is way different from just connecting with someone online. When you get to understand more about each other, a lot of opportunities come out of it. Things like business collaborations, hirings, uh, investment opportunities, and many other things that happen in the professional world that need more than one people to do. The profile photo, like I think I mentioned this earlier, it shouldn't be with a lot of like people around you, or maybe with you and drinks in your hand. Just a clear headshot that shows your face. I think something around here and above would do, just to show your face and with a smile. That's it. But please do not use passport pictures. That is so boring. So boring. I'm serious. All right, let's get to the some career tips if necessary. But before we jump to this part, I've left a good number of a good amount of time to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, is the right time to ask right now. Okay, with premium version, I've been on LinkedIn since like I think 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Until now, I haven't even used it once. In fact, my free trial version, I haven't even used that. You need to understand more about the premium version before you actually subscribe to it if you want to. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying you don't need it. What I'm saying is all the things we discussed today, and all the things about building your brand and content creation and connecting with the right people and all that stuff, you can do this absolutely well in the free version as well. But there may be certain cases that you need something that the free version doesn't give you, then you can consider the premium version. But that doesn't mean once you subscribe to the premium version, you will have more profile views, or you will have more connections, or you will have more this and more that. No, it is just about certain features. For example, one of the features that could be helpful to you would be the advanced search filter. Right now, if you search, it is also okay. There are some filters, there's categories and so on that you can select. But when it comes to more stuff like very advanced, very detailed, it is only available in the premium version. Or if you are interested to use more in terms of sales uh, tools or marketing tools, then you could subscribe to it. Or even LinkedIn Learning, which is like a online course platform like Coursera and Udemy and all that. You also need to subscribe to a LinkedIn premium account. But again, you need to know why you need it before you subscribe to it. Don't expect, uh, things will happen and your ranking will go high just by subscribing to it. No, it won't happen. Can we write about skills or something that we know a little about it? Yes. When you share your post, it doesn't mean that you have to be the expert in that field. Let me ask you this question. When you share about a food on your Instagram story and say, "Oh my God, this food was really good," doesn't mean you're a chef or you are like the best cook ever. Most likely, you don't even know how to cook that food, right? But you just enjoyed that thing and you can share it. Similarly, if you go to a training, for example, and the training is about how to be a good team player, right? It's a soft skill. That doesn't mean that you are already like the best team player in the world or the person with the highest soft skills ever. No, you can just talk about your learnings. You can talk about, simply just your thoughts on it, your opinion on it. Also remember, uh, I wouldn't advise to talk about certain sensitive topics like religious or political. There's no right or wrong in this, okay? It's just that it is a sensitive topic. You don't want to risk your brand just because something is sensitive topic. Like when it comes to politics, there's always some people who agree with something and disagree with that exact same thing, right? So there will always be this risk of putting yourself, your brand, and basically your professional profile in 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 risk by saying something in those lines. For me, I just avoid any of those, and I would advise it to you guys as well. Can you the SSI numbers? Okay, let's go back to it again. Okay, this percentage is showing your profile ranking in your industry, and this one shows your profile ranking in your network. So coincidentally, in this case they're both the same, but in some other cases they could be different. And these numbers, so basically it is a number out of 100, right? To come up with this is a score, this is the percentage. It Okay, let me separate this. uh, this one, right, is a score that then will define how is your profile score among your network or among your industry. For example, if you have 77 out of 100 or 77%, that already means that you are among the top 1% in your network. If this score drops to, let's say, 50%, so 50% may be the top 10% in your network, right? It depends on the score that you get, but how you get the score is according to these four categories. Each of these categories contribute to 25%, and they all have their own criteria how you can get those numbers higher. At the bottom here, also you can see the certain other numbers like the average people in my industry. Okay, so sales professionals in the program development, on average they have 20%. People in my network on average they have 40%. So being 70%, that put me on the top 1%. Did I answer it clearly? Rim says that I thought that LinkedIn is not that important, but now I start to change my mindset. Oh yes, it is very, very important. And in fact, it could be life changing for some people. Like for me personally, it's been very, very life changing because of all the things that happened. I'm not talking about only, being invited to speaking engagements and so on. No, it was the journey that taught me a lot. All the indirect things that came along, all the people that I met because of LinkedIn. And now they are like my friends, not even my network. They're actually my friends, or even certain opportunities that came in, and I could never get any of those if it wasn't because of the things that I learned because of LinkedIn. Any other question, guys? No response means no question, or it means there's a delay, or it means you're simply ignoring me. For connecting to the network, should I connect with as much people as possible? No, the number is not that important. It's quality over quantity. You want to connect with the people who are somehow relevant. When I say relevant, it doesn't mean they have to be doing exactly what you're doing. No. For example, as a student, who could be your target audience? It could be your, your other students, peers. It could be hiring managers. It could be HR professionals. It could be certain working adults who are working in the same field that you're interested in. So if I am interested in, let's say, marketing, right? I want to connect with more marketing people so I can learn more from them, so I can build my network of marketing people. And it doesn't have to be only one of them. It can be basically multiple audiences that you might have. Just connect with those that you think you have a reason to connect with. Basically, I think that's the question you can ask yourself. Do I have a reason to connect with this person? If that's a yes, then connect for that reason. If there's no reason, then just connect for what? Just build a number and then no value. Can you give us an example of the best thing that happened to you? I think you mean as a result of LinkedIn, right? Honestly, I think the best thing that happened to me was more about understanding and discovering more about myself, because that is very crucial in order to build your brand and to build your profile. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what you're even interested in, it'll be super hard for you to build the brand, to build the profile, to build anything basically, because you don't even know what you want, right? So I think that was very important. And as a result of that, not knowing what I was, what I wanted, what I had, uh, not knowing the importance of network, not knowing any of those, it helped me grow personally. In terms of personal growth, I would say LinkedIn was just the best for me. What would you say about someone who doesn't have a LinkedIn? You are missing a lot. You are missing a lot. Like really. You know why? Let me. let me be honest with you guys. When you graduate, you think just your CGPA will save your ass? No. There are a lot of people who are studying the same thing as you, who are getting the same results as you, all brilliant minds, all very, very good CGPAs. But then what's the difference between you and your classmates? Why should a company hire you and not your classmate? Universities, unfortunately, these days are producing robots in some cases, especially some students don't even know why they're going to universities, right? Why are you going to university? Because my parents asked me to. Why are you going to university? Because I saw everyone was going, so I just wanted to follow the flow or go with the flow. They don't even know why they're going to university. They're lost, and they're lost, and those syllabus make them even more lost. And when they graduate, they're like, oh my God, what do I do now? I've studied 4 years in this, let's say, degree program, and I don't know if even if my CGPA is gonna save me. I have to go for many interviews, many applications, many, all this stuff just to uh, settle with a job that I'm not even interested in. I've seen these people. I've seen a lot of these who were brilliant minds, and they were struggling with this because they simply thought that CGPA is everything they need, but it's not. So yeah, I think if I'm not like trying to promote LinkedIn or something. What I'm saying is try to build your profile. If you think that LinkedIn is not for you, maybe let's say you're doing photography, right? Photography, the platform for it could be Instagram, could be Pinterest. It could also be on LinkedIn as well. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying maybe Instagram would be more of your, your interest and your platform. Okay, do it on Instagram. But what you need to do, just make sure you build your professional brand over there. Don't just simply, like share nonsense like food photos, some of this stuff. If you want to have those, keep it for a personal account. But have a professional account on any professional platform or any platform basically to build your professional presence online. You will see how different it will be when you see the result of it. Maybe right now, no matter how much I talk about it, you'll be like, never mind, it's fine. I'll get there 1 year from now, then I'll worry about it. But when you get to the point where you see the difference, it will be quite too late to start building it. Next one. Can you give us an example of the business? Okay, that are answered. How can LinkedIn help me to improve my brand? Store of clothes for men. Okay, so what I understand is you are running your own business, right? Is that correct, Mr. Uh, Yusuf? I think correct. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So if you are running the business, it's your own business. LinkedIn could be helping you in terms of building also the business brand, not only your personal brand, because nowadays people tend to do more business with people who they can trust. And how can you build a trust with the company, with the brand, where you don't even know who's behind it? That's where you put a face on the brand. Like if I say I have this Mr. X kind of brand, but who is behind Mr. X? There's a person. Okay, so I know that person. That person, I've been in touch with them, for example, for a while. So I tend to trust the person behind the business. So then there's a higher chance for me to trust the business itself. Otherwise, how do I know if this is not a scam company? Maybe I buy something online and it will never reach my doorstep because they're basically not even a legit company, right? So there are a lot of things you can do in terms of that on LinkedIn too. The point is you want to build your whatever it is that you're doing on other social media platforms, keep them up. Don't get me wrong. Do not like lose the opportunity. take the opportunity to be as on as many platforms as possible, but LinkedIn also should be one of them for sure, especially for your own personal profile. When you talk about all these uh, leadership maybe post as a business owner, you might be talking about the things that happen in your company, like challenges, maybe some successes, perhaps certain things that happen on your journey of starting your own business. People are love these kind of stories. They want to hear more about these personal stories of other people who then give them a better insight what they should be doing with whatever challenges that they're going through. There are a lot of business owners, a lot of them who are facing problems in terms of marketing their products, getting investments, all sorts of things. So if you are, good at one of any of these things I just mentioned as an example, just talk about them, share about this on your LinkedIn profile, and indirectly, when you also talk about, let's say, something that happened in your company, people also get to understand more about your company. So indirectly, you're actually promoting your business too. But don't always, talk directly, okay, come buy my product, we have this promotion, that promotion. No, make sure that your post add value to your audience. Add value means something that they will be like, huh, interesting, I want to share this with my friend, I want to save this to have a look at it later. It's all about the value. uh what do you mean by connect with them? Okay, Rim, I think you need to elaborate on that. Noor said, if I study a religious major, can I add it in my profile? Yeah, sure. Okay, when I mentioned it's better to avoid sensitive topics, it simply means avoid, giving thoughts. And for example, right now there may be some conflicts in the US, with the riots and all the chaos going on for the presidential, stuff. Or perhaps some countries are going through some wars, some conflicts between the borders. It's just talking about those things and then relate, saying something bad about one country and something good about the other one, or saying something bad about one religion and good about the other one. It may just spark up, it may trigger certain conflict in the comment section of your post as well. There will be people who be like, no, you're wrong, I disagree with you, and I don't think you're right, and then it just becomes a messy situation. If you want to avoid it, just avoid giving your opinions on these matters. If you're studying a major, that is your major, that is what you're doing. Put it on your profile and make sure you also uh, talk about it, saying that this is my major, this is what we learned, this is uh, perhaps if you're going to teach, maybe teach the younger ones, teach the, for example, you are going on to a school to teach the younger ones about the religion that you're majoring in, right? We can talk about that too. You're not giving an opinion against another religion or something, right? You're simply just sharing your work. Simply, it's just your work. uh, Next question, would you advise it for, oh wait, very interesting, your idea about uni and how it makes us like robots in majority of time. Unfortunately, that's a sad fact these days. uh, would you advise it for researchers as well, or dedicated websites would be better, such as ResearchGate? For researchers, actually, I do have some friends who are researchers too. But the thing is that, yes, I think there are some other platforms that could be better in terms of uh, sharing their insights in terms of research. ResearchGate is one of them, and probably there are others too. I can't really remember the names, but I know there are some other platforms for sharing your work in terms of research. At the same time, you can always have your LinkedIn account as well. Because again, going back to the main point why you need LinkedIn is to build your online presence. There may be someone who is looking for a researcher in a certain field. How can they find you? There are business people, they are not researchers, they are HR people. They may not be on certain platforms like ResearchGate, right? So you want to keep your profile at least, even if you don't want to keep it very active, you don't want to post often, let's say, but at least make sure you have a complete profile there so you are searchable. In case you search for someone, you show up. Can I mention even the online courses that I took? Yes. At the bottom of the profile of your profile, there's a section where you can put all your courses. It depends what kind of course it is. If it is a certification, or is it's a course, or it's a training, or there could be different categories of it. But yes, absolutely, you can put your online courses there as well. I like the fact that the LinkedIn workshop became somehow like a life coaching as well. Any other question, guys? Okay, now let's go back to the. By the way, guys, do you wanna hear the career tips? Guys, that is not really part of the today's workshop, but if you're interested, I can just quickly go over it. Okay, cool. Let me share my screen. Perfecto. Basically, it's gonna be in uh, whenever I see this meme, I can't stop laughing. When you search for your jobs, um, you will come across a lot of challenges, right? Competition. There may be uh, automated systems that automatically put even your CV aside just because you don't meet certain criteria. That may mean that you may have to uh, apply to a lot more companies and go for a lot more interviews. Let's say you're not building your brand and you're not doing whatever I just mentioned in this workshop. Let's say you're not doing any of those, okay, and you're going through a lot of challenges. Don't give up. That is the most important thing, because when you give up, then you just settle with something that is just the bare minimum. But when you don't give up, then you will automatically think of other creative solutions. What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? And one of the simplest ways you can do this is to, whatever job platform you're applying on, make sure you also follow up on LinkedIn. For example, you applied for a job in company X. Okay, fine. You go on LinkedIn, you search for company X, and find their employees who are especially in the HR department. Find one of them that, go through their profile, see their activities, see if they're even active there or not, because you want to get a response, right? So just go through the profile, see if you can get this vibe that they're going to reply to you and they're actually active on LinkedIn. If yes, connect with them and just follow up with them. Very, very, very simple. Don't make it too complicated. Don't make them think like, oh my God, another annoying guy coming my way, and then I want to like, oh my God, like answer so many questions. No, very simple, very genuine, polite. Yeah, hi, put the name there. Don't forget that. I recently applied for this job, and I'm really curious to know whether it has been received successfully or not. Something. Ask a question to initiate the conversation first. Doesn't have to be a very, very complicated question. Very simple. Just make sure that you initiate the conversation somehow, or trigger them to say just a very short answer. They may be busy people, right? You don't want them to say, "Oh, this needs a 1 page of answer, so I don't have the time for it. Never mind, I'm not gonna reply." But if it is short, they will reply, most likely. Actually, on LinkedIn, I've noticed that a lot of people are really there to help, like really, really helpful, unbelievably helpful. So just try your luck and see how it goes. Second one, which is super important, is when you this is something that you have to do earlier before you actually get to the point where you need to find the jobs. I think we briefly mentioned it as well. Build relationships, especially with the HR people, because they are the ones who are gonna go through your application, approve it, reject it, do the interview with you, and so on. uh, but on top of that, when you have built your relationship with the HR people, you can actually ask them for guidance, for mentorship, for certain, you know, hacks or insider news, things that there's no way you can find online, things that there's no way you can find on the job description or something. But these people can tell you. They can talk about more about. They can talk about more. They can talk more. My God, they can talk more about uh, the process. What is usually the process like in order for someone to be hired, from the first time that the application is received all the way until it is approved and you're hired. Or you can ask them about your uh, about the company culture, like what is it even like to work in that company, right? I know there are some other websites too that you can check out to see certain ratings like employer branding and employer ratings and so on. But these people are working there already. These people will be the best source of information to give you the idea that whether this is the company for me. Are you interested to work in a company where they may give you a lot of benefits and all that, but at the same time, they have a strict, terrible policy. You can't do certain things, you cannot say certain things. Whatever you do, you have to get their permission first, and sort of things. There may be other companies that give you a lot of freedom, do whatever you want, have bean bags, you work flexible hours, all sorts of freedom, but maybe their benefits may not be as much. There are different kinds of um, atmosphere when you work, right? And you want to get more information about it before you even apply for it. So build relationships. And for God's sake, ask. This is really ridiculous that I have to put it here, but sometimes you just need to ask. Even if they don't have any career on their platform, on their website, that doesn't mean they may not look for anyone. There's always a need for an extra hand. Maybe you can start with an internship. Maybe you give them an idea that, hey, I've noticed that, you're doing this, and this, and I've recently seen on the news that you're working on this and this, and I'm really interested in this area because I would love to learn more about this, and I don't think I can find any better opportunity than working in this company, and I would love to gain more experience. For 3 months, I would love to just join as an intern to just learn more. Just like that. Propose them. Ask. Ask for help. In this case, it doesn't even have to be the HR people. It can be the higher uh, profiles if you know them. Like maybe if there's a CEO of a startup, the CEO of a startup, or maybe a managing director of a company, or even the founders, or all these high positions. Ask them how can they help you. If it is not about the job, forget it. Let's say you are you are running your own business and you want investment, what do? You simply ask them, right? Ask them. Simple. Okay, I'll get to that later. Do you guys have any question about this so far? It looks like that's a no. If there is, let me know. And the last part of today is the fact that I'm also looking for apprentice. If anyone is interested, you can let me know more on digital marketing. Uh, but digital marketing has different aspects of it. If you're interested, we can talk about it later. Just on LinkedIn, maybe you can PM me or something, and we'll discuss further. We talked about everything that uh, I would say are the basics of LinkedIn. And honestly speaking, I've seen a lot of people, because I've been doing this for quite a couple of years now, and God knows how many people, how many students basically have been my participants, but I don't really see them active much even after the workshop. You know why? During the workshop, they're like, yes, oh yes, I'm gonna be an influencer. 6 months from now, I'm gonna be the content creator, the guy on LinkedIn who everyone knows with the good personal brand. I'm gonna post twice every day for the next 6 months, 12 months until I build my influence, blah, 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 all the dreams, right? But next week, they act as if they never even attended the workshop. Like it's all forgotten. Okay. I hope today's session and among you guys, that you about 20 plus wonderful, amazing people, I hope you are not one of those. But if you think you may lose your motivation after some time, if you think that, I don't know, you might probably need more support and so on, then I think it is very important to have a support group where all of you could create a WhatsApp group, like only specifically for this. And whenever, let's say at the beginning, you complete your profile, then ask feedback. Hey guys, I've completed my profile. What do you guys think? Is there any way I can improve it? It's like a community of 19, 20, 30 people, very small, who support each other, who bounce off each other to grow together. Like-minded, similar situation, all at same level, all trying to, grow together, right? And the feedback is just one thing. It could later be about your post, right? You post something. Guys, can you give me a feedback about my post? How is it doing? Get more engagement on it. That is great to start, because a lot of people lose motivation because they think they have to start alone and they have to start from zero. Right now, you have 20 people. You're going to start with minimum 20 connections. You're going to start with 20 uh, viewership on your profile or on your post and so on. Don't lose this opportunity. Take the most out of this. You can add me in your group as well if you want, so I can give you feedback from time to time, and perhaps I can also like give you some recommendations after this if I see that you're doing great. I can endorse you, or maybe you guys can endorse your skills as well. Basically, just help each other, complete your profile, and establish yourself. I'm not sure if um, you know what? Let me just quickly create a WhatsApp group and I'll share the link with you over here. Then you can right away. Hold on. No need to put your number here. Just hold on. Let me create a WhatsApp group. I share the link here. You just click to join. Simple. That'll be, I think, the best way. Okie dokie. Invite group, copy link. Okay, just join there, guys. If later after this you guys had more questions, you feel free to also, ask in the group. I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys might have. And I think that is all from my side so far. Just the last quick note is that in case you wanted to connect further, of course you have my number now, but in case there was other things too, you can get in touch, um, either on LinkedIn or by email, and we can take it from there. Thank you everyone for joining today, and I was really having a great time with you guys. A very very active. Really glad to see that, to see all your participations. I'll pass it back to the MC. Thank you so much, everyone.